Hello and excuse me, clear my throat. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast of Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here as always by the world's biggest Mitchell Trubisky fan, Kyle. Kyle, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Not too optimistic for that game, but it's all right. We ball. And yeah, I played pickup football today and got very sunburned, so that's why I look really red.
Okay, gotcha. I like. How's the pickup football been going?
I played pretty well again today. Had some interceptions, couple nice defensive plays, couple touchdowns. No big deal.
Okay, look at you, Kyle.
I know, baby. I'm back. 2025 is my year. It's happening. Red Sox are going to win the World Series, and we're just rolling.
Yeah, the Patriots could use you, maybe, Kyle.
I don't know about that.
Not this week. Not this week. They need no touchdowns, no interceptions. Kyle, this should be a very interesting show. So we have people pumped up. We already have Zachary Stewart in the chat saying, I left Universal early for this stream, so it better be good. It will be. I think we will have a good stream here, Kyle. So I should set up how we're going to do this show, because it's a little different than than our other shows, in that there's a handful of games we're not going to really preview because they don't really matter for the final game of the season. So we'll talk about them on the end. We'll do kind of a lightning round. So the games we're not going to preview, but we will talk about in the end, are Bills, Patriots, Giants, Eagles, Texans, Titans, Jaguars, Colts, Seahawks, Rams, and Niners, Cardinals, because those games either don't have implications or people are resting starters. We'll talk about the other 10 games. We'll also have some unique scoring in this, where instead of just how we usually do, where you pick the winner or loser with one lock, you have the what's called the double up, which essentially serves as a lock, but the team doesn't have to cover. They just have to win. We also have the introduction of the super lock here this week, Kyle. Like a regular lock, only more powerful. This time, if you get it wrong, 3 points are added to your score. If you get it right, 2 points are subtracted. I'm sure that was confusing for a lot of you, but I'm sure you'll get it as we go. Kyle, does all that sound good?
Yeah, that all sounds good. I'm still learning the rules myself. I'm rereading the text as I speak.
This is the 5th year we've done this, Kyle.
I know. I'm still working on it. It's okay.
Yes. Yes. Kyle, let's just be honest. You've had a bit of a rough patch these past couple weeks.
Yeah, those picks, the Seahawks Bears thing was stupid. Like, that made me mad. And then, like, the Colts, like, I don't know. I should, I don't know what to think of the Colts. I should have known that franchise always crumbles under pressure. It's been a 20-year history of the Colts crumbling under pressure. So
I was shocked when I saw that you bet on the Colts in a big game. I was very surprised. Oh wow, Kyle's really going for this.
I've watched the Giants the last 3 weeks before that. What was I supposed to do?
I know, but I've watched the Colts for the past 5 years. Kyle, before we get into our preview, Lions, Niners. The Lions elected to play their starters, which was kind of a surprise, but they decided to play their starters. It works out. No one gets injured. They get off to a bit of a slow start. I mean, this was a back and forth battle early on. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy throws a couple of interceptions that allowed the Lions to ultimately run away from it. Lions offense still looks unstoppable. They're running hook and ladders. They're having Penei Sewell as a fake on a reverse play. They're just faking it to him, which is fun. But ultimately able to really do very well offensively. I think the questions about the Lions defense still remains, but a very entertaining game this one was.
Yeah, very entertaining game, and I appreciated it because this felt like it was going to be a bit of a dud week because the fact that so many teams had clinched their fortunes basically at that point, and the Lions team had no incentive to do this, but the culture thing has been instilled. They talk about that. That's their reasoning for going for it in this thing. And they played really well. This offense is awesome. I think Jared Goff has mastered this offense, it feels like. And yeah, I mean, I think at this point, he's probably we were struggling, it felt like, for a 5th MVP candidate if he did a top 5 ballot. I think at this point, he has to be my 5th. I think he's been that guy. I think he's been really, really good in this offense. Like, there's been inconsistencies. I still question him as a top level quarterback all the time because I think he's in almost the perfect situation. But yeah, I think he's been a top 5 MVP candidate this season.
First, we have Overlap 618 says, Oz, you give the Bengals of making the playoffs. I still think not great, Overlap. I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe 5%.
It's on the table, but I think you're asking too much of the Chiefs backups there to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit. Goff's MVP case is so weird because it's like you take out his 3 worst games and he's like probably like been the best quarterback in football, or at least like has like a really strong case. But his 3 worst games are just like so bad that like it completely disrupts the numbers. Like that's his case. Is like, and even his worst game they won against the Texans. So I don't know. It's he's been great though down the stretch, and he's definitely someone that you can trust in these big spots here coming up.
Yeah. No, I mean, since that Texans game, he's been basically lights out. And like, how many games have you turned on for the Lions where it's like, oh, Jared Goff is like 7-7 for 85 yards. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane what he's been able to do.
Yeah, no, and it's his whole offense too, right? I mean, like it's tough because I feel like you don't want to take away credit from Goff, but like everything just works so well. I mean, like some of these plays are just like unstopped. I don't know how you stop the hook and ladder. I came up with an idea of how, but like it's so difficult. Like all these things you can do, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you have to basically anticipate it, which is almost impossible to anticipate.
Right.
I just think so. If you're going to make an argument for each of the NFC teams to win the Super Bowl this year, that are making the playoffs, obviously, the Detroit argument is the offense is the best unit in football. This offense is better than any other offense or defense in the league. And I think it's by a significant margin at this point. I think they're that good. I think this is a machine. And yeah, I mean, I like you said, I do question the defense because of all these injuries. But up until those interceptions, Brock Purdy was amazing in this game too. So yeah, I just think it's you have some questions about that defense, but overall, like, yeah, it's a machine, man. This offense can score on anybody.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about it more when we preview them. We can eulogize the 49ers a little bit. This is the last, because we're not going to, we'll touch on them at the end of the show, but we're not going to preview their game. So, I mean, riddled by injuries, I don't know. I feel like everyone's turned on Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy's been mostly the same this season as he was last season. Like, I think the situation's been worse.
Yeah. I mean, when you take away a lot of the talent that they had, yeah, I mean, it factors into it. The touchdowns are down, but I mean, it's one of those things too where I kind of did the Stroud thing where it's like, yeah, the touchdowns and interceptions are different, but a lot of the numbers across the board are very similar. Like that's kind of what I'm looking at. Play to play, I think Stroud and Purdy have been very similar players. It's just the high reward plays and the high risk plays have been more variants.
Yeah. Let's move on. Why don't we, Kyle? Let's get into the show. I mentioned been a rough couple weeks for you. You currently have a 9-point deficit. You started so strong this season. You were dominant, but things have not gone well.
Yeah. Need a big run here. Need to get this back. So yeah, we need a big week this week. I'm feeling pretty confident. It's okay.
Okay. Well, again, we have several different rules that Kyle is still trying to figure out in his head. But Kyle, why don't you give me a game?
I mean, it's the most important game of the week. Both of these teams will 100% playing with all the stakes. I am going to go and give you our Sunday night game, the marquee game, Vikings at Lions.
Yeah, let's just give the people what they want, right? Let's get into it. A good choice here, Kyle. Would have also been my first game I gave you. I would have given you. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's very fascinating with these two teams. I can't double it up against either of these teams because I just feel like this could be a really good game. I'm just kind of feeling Minnesota right now. I just don't love this Lions defense, and it's not disrespectful to the Lions. These are two 14-win teams, which has never happened. We've never seen two 14-win teams play each other. Period. It's never happened. In the regular season, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be a 14-win wild card team, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm slightly leaning Minnesota right now. I just feel like they're more complete.
Does feel like they're more complete. This defense is opportunistic. They made plays. I do feel like this defense has been more beatable just on a down-to-down basis, but they still make so many big plays. It feels like it's still going to be able to swing a game even a little bit. And then this offense is rolling too. I mean, we said I think the Lions offense is the best in the league. I mean, this one isn't far behind at this point. Sam Darnold is playing some incredible ball. All of these receivers, whether it's Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, or of course Justin Jefferson, have all felt like they made big impactful plays. And yeah, I think that this team is peaking at the right time as well. So it's going to be really tough, I think, for the Lions with some of their depleted options on defense. And it's really unfortunate to be kind of the best team all year and then end up the 5 seed on the last week of the season at 14-3.
Yeah, it would be crazy. I mean, and it's in Detroit too. Is this this has to be I mean, it's certainly the biggest regular season game we've seen in Detroit in like maybe ever. It's one of the biggest games we've had in Detroit in quite some time. Because even the 2 playoff games last year were playoff games they were favored to win and won. Like one of the biggest games in Detroit, like in NFL history.
Yeah. No, I mean it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome stakes, and I'm very much looking forward to this game. I do think the big thing is going to be how is Minnesota generating pressure in this game? They are a blitz heavy team. Are they going to blitz a lot? And we've seen that in the past have success against Goff, right? Obviously the pressure thing has been a much noted point of Jared Goff's tenure resume. However, I think he's been better against it the last couple seasons than he was against those earlier Patriots defenses and Matt Patricia defenses that gave him some trouble. I think it's going to look similar, but how has he adjusted to it? I think is going to be the biggest question.
Yeah, the other thing too is with a banged up David Montgomery. I mean, I don't think it's been announced if he would play next week or not. But like, if he's not out there or if he's maybe on a limited snap count, I worry about the blitz pickups. Because Jahmyr Gibbs, part of why I didn't love the draft pick is he's not a blocker. That's just not what he does. He does a lot of other stuff great, but that's just not his skill set. So if you can take Jahmyr Gibbs out of the game with the blitz, I think that's interesting. Again, Brian Flores, obviously, him and Jared Goff's career are always going to be tied because of what happened in the Super Bowl when the Patriots beat the Rams. But like Goff, I mean, earlier this season, it was looking like, okay, here we go again. Brian Flores dominating this Lions offense, dominating Jared Goff, and then Jared Goff put up 21 points in the second quarter, and the Lions kind of had to lead. And while the Vikings got back in it, they were never able to overtake them. So I don't know. It should be very interesting.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be interesting because, like I said, it did feel like that he figured some things out. I think he's developed more as a passer as far as handling pressure in those situations. And honestly, the situation's easier for him because he has a lot more playmakers. He has an offensive line that's good at protection. Granted, like you said, if Montgomery's not out there, that makes it tougher. But I think just overall, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of leading I don't know. I just feel like this Detroit team has had the magic. I think they've been able to find solutions to almost anything. And I think I'm just going to lean on that. I think that they've had it this season, and not to take away from Minnesota's season because they've had a lot of similar qualities, but it just feels like every time we've might have doubted Detroit a little bit, they've had an answer for it somehow.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that honestly does, it feels like it. There was a point earlier this year when I was in my tier rankings, and I just created it's their year tier and put the Lions at the top because like it just feels that like this can't happen, right? The Lions can't have the injuries ruin their season. They lose here and then they lose to the Rams or the Bucs next week, right? That just can't happen.
No, they have to win a playoff game. If this ends with that, then this is all just a big waste of time.
What are we even doing here? And then the Chiefs just win the Super Bowl again.
That'll probably happen. So.
If you're a Chiefs hater, like one of those like real Chiefs haters, are you like really rooting for like the Lions because you're like they have a chance to beat the Chiefs? Are you like rooting for like the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to say. I mean, that's the big thing is like it is unfortunate with these defensive injuries because like this team probably was the best team in football, but yeah, I think you have to root for the best team in the NFC. Yeah, you probably have to root for the Eagles, and then maybe get lucky that the Bills or the Ravens win.
Yeah, you are completely idiotic about football if you still believe Jahmyr Gibbs is not an elite back. Jahmyr Gibbs is great. He's not a blocker. He's a great player.
Yeah, he didn't say elite. He said he can't block.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best, if not the best, pure rusher in the league. He's just not a blocker. That's not his game.
And he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's good at that too.
Right. Jahmyr Gibbs would have agreed with that statement.
Yeah, I would hope so. Maybe he's confident in himself anyways.
Yeah. I would hope he would disagree, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, I'm great at everything. Don't worry.
Yeah. Kyle, again, we could spend an hour on this game, but let's move on. Still plenty to discuss. I'm going to give you a game. It's another one of the marquee games. It's the other nighttime game this week, the Saturday night game, Bengals Steelers.
Yeah. So this is definitely another one that's going to be interesting. Man, the Steelers defense is tough, but I'm going to lean Cincinnati. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think this defense has played a lot better.
It's just super lock.
Not a super lock, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But this defense has played a lot better. I think they got some stuffs going for them. And then Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I think they get it done. Yeah, I think that the Bengals have some things going for them, and they're going to be a little more desperate because it's fighting for their playoff lives based compared to seeding. So yeah, I think the Bengals are going to win this.
There's fireworks going off somewhat near my house. Is that coming up on the microphone? I'm not sure.
I don't hear it.
Good. Okay. Good. Glad to hear it. If you do hear anything, those at home, that's what it is. No one's getting shot in the background, I promise. But yes, the
Pine Hills, Jackson.
yeah. But anyway, what were we on? Bengals Steelers. But this is another thing where it's like, I think the narrative just feels like Bengals should make the playoffs. Like that's the thing. Like the logic doesn't make sense. Like you're looking at the numbers and it doesn't make sense. But like, then you look at it's the Bengals. Like they've been great this past month. The whole story has been, can the Bengals make the playoffs? I mean, I don't know. It that alone makes you feel like the Bengals should win, even though the Steelers notoriously played Joe Burrow really tough and beat the Bengals earlier this year, even when Burrow played well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this defense has always given him some fits, and he played really well the last time, and the offense moved the ball. But I also don't think this is the same defense that Cincinnati played the last time these two sides played. I just think it's looked better. I mean, part of it could be opponents or something like that, but I think in the last few weeks, they've been able to string together a few stops at least, and that just goes a long way because they couldn't win every game 45-34 or whatever it is. They couldn't win those games, and they were just losing these end of game battles and high scoring affairs. And then lately, granted, it was the Titans, the Browns, and the Broncos. If it's just one stop here or there, I just trust Joe Burrow in those math games. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and the Steelers haven't looked as good late. That's the other thing too.
Yes.
Like when they won that game, they were kind of at the height of their powers. Now they've looked horrible as of late. So yeah, and worth mentioning. I'll try to bring up what each team needs to have happen. So the Bengals, they need to win. They need a Dolphins loss and they need a Broncos loss to make sure they get in. The Steelers are still fighting for the division lead. If they can, well, actually, they might not be. I should mention that. Might not be fighting for a division lead because the Ravens play earlier. But even if the Ravens win and the Steelers can't win the division, the Steelers would still be fighting for the 5 seed, which would help them. So either way, they're going to play. But could end up as low as the 3 seed, could end up as high as the 6 seed, depending on how things go.
Yeah, even if the Ravens win, they're still going to be probably looking at this like we need to. I would much rather be the 5 seed than the 6 seed this season. Like that's not a hot take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I mean, poor Houston Texans. But anyway, Kyle, let's move on. Why don't we? 6 games left. Also, I need to mention, I sent you a typo when I gave you the lines. I wrote that Washington was playing the Packers. That's obviously not the case. They're playing the Cowboys. So just making sure you have that right in your notes.
Yeah, I corrected that. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
So the next game, I have to pick this one, I guess. I don't really know what side I'm going with this. It sounds like Jalen Waddle's not going to play. It sounds like Tua's still not going to play. Teron Armstead might not play. Tyreek Hill's questionable. Dolphins at Jets. Dolphins fighting for their playoff lives without several of their key offensive players.
This game is so stupid. It's going to be the most boring game of all time. I just think I have to do it. I think I have to super lock the Dolphins here. I know all the injuries and everything, but the vibes are so bad with the Jets. The Dolphins have so much to play for. Like, if the Dolphins if the Dolphins lose this game, I don't even care if the Broncos still win. Like, you got to fire Mike McDaniel. That's it. If you can't win this game, like, pack it up.
With everyone out of the lineup, even.
Yeah, I don't care I don't care if Tim Boyle's playing.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I think I agree with you. Like, I think they should win this game. It'd be so Aaron Rodgers to go for like 350 in this game, right?
You're right. Yeah, they would.
Yeah, and just be like, everyone doubted me. Everyone said I was washed up. And then it's like, oh, the Week 18 game? Congratulations, guy. That's definitely going to happen. I think it's I mean, the Dolphins should win this game. They still have their defensive guys. They still have Devin Achane. And I still think Tyreek Hill is going to play. I think it's going to be one of those things where they still have the motivation. I think the Jets need a vacation, don't want a vacation. And
The Jets are on vacation.
Yeah.
Forget needing one.
If you're on the Jets, where would you want to be right now? Where would you go on a trip? Would you just go on like a European backpack trip? Just get out of there for a while?
Yeah, I think somewhere that doesn't even speak English. Like I don't even want like the chance of someone recognizing me.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. Are you inviting Aaron Rodgers on your vacation?
I wouldn't. No.
No, I don't think I'd want a vacation with him either.
No, Zachary Stewart with a super chat. I said it months ago. It's in the rule book. Jets and Bears can't have good quarterback play. No one believes me. Yeah, you nailed it, Zach. You're right on it. So Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Kyle. I think it's my most viewed film study of the year was my one I made just a couple days ago on how embarrassing Aaron Rodgers was last week. I mean, like going and rewatching it. There's so much like. There's passes he's just not making, and I don't know why. The whole yelling at his tight end for not running the route he wants to run on third down, and then on fourth down handing it off, and then yelling at the coach like walking off the sideline. Like it's just like people keep saying, "What's going to happen next year?" How can you talk yourself into giving Aaron Rodgers a shot? How can you do it?
I don't know who would give him a shot. I'm just curious what they do next season. So I don't think he's going to play for the Jets next season. That would be my opinion right now. I saw someone today say they should trade their pick for JJ McCarthy. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how open Minnesota is to that deal, but yeah, I just think I don't think he's going to play on the Jets next season. Does another team take a chance on him? Maybe. I just don't know why. It wouldn't be for the film this season that he put together. You would have to say maybe he has one. Maybe this is a Brett Favre thing.
Yeah, I mean, because the only thing you would think of is I just don't get it. I don't get who would, and all the teams are like a quarterback away and would want. There's no real team that would want to take a chance on like a veteran quarterback anyway. Really, right? Like there's not that team. There's no Jets of this year. Yeah, that's probably the one. That's probably the one you look at because I think that him and Mike Tomlin do have a relationship. But like, if that's the case, like Rodgers would have to buy in. Like Tomlin would just cut him if he's not like doing what he needs him to do.
Yeah. No, I mean that would probably be the one. I mean, obviously the coach there, there's probably a mutual respect between those two at least. But yeah, it's I just think it's tough because I think it's definitely. He's not playing on the Jets. It's just, I joked all season that he's going to end up on the Vikings next season, and then Sam Darnold went ahead and ruined that. But I do think I wouldn't be shocked if someone takes a chance on him. I just don't know why.
I think the Vikings have 3 quarterbacks they'd rather have than Aaron Rodgers on their roster right now. I think they prefer Daniel Jones even.
That's a hot take. I don't know. Yeah, that's.
I don't think so. I don't think it is. I think they would rather have Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Maruli 427 Steelers fan in the chat does not want Rodgers on the Steelers. So I'm going to start talking Rodgers to the Steelers into existence. So that's what I want now.
Okay. And then are you also going to do some Myles Garrett over TJ Watt takes too?
Yeah, I can start those soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, as Kyle antagonizes the Pittsburgh Steelers, I will give him a game. Kyle, I'm going to give you a game just because we don't really know what the stakes of this game are going to be. I'm going to give you Chargers Raiders. So if the Steelers lose, the Chargers, if they win this game, it means that they will be fighting for the 5 seed, which as we talked about, you want the 5 seed. That means you get to play the Texans instead of the Ravens. But if the Steelers win, the Chargers we don't know what they'll do, but they might end up resting their starters given how this goes. So Kyle, who do you have winning, Chargers, Raiders? And will you double it up?
Before that, let me tell you why Patrick Surtain is the Defensive Player of the Year. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, yeah. I kind of agree with that one, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh boy. I'm going to take the Chargers, obviously. It is tough. I'm not going to lock it or double it up just because there's too many unknown variables, like you said, because if the Steelers win, then there's no incentive to play. And so, like, they may go easy. I mean, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh could do the Dan Campbell thing and just, like, we want to play. That feels like a very Jim Harbaugh thing to do anyways. But I could still see them also just being like, let's get to the playoffs. So we'll see. So I'm just going to take the Chargers and say they win. But I also don't feel comfortable enough without the known variables of will they actually try to double it up or lock it up. We joked about it that it's the perfect, it's very funny that the Raiders are now winning these games. When it's basically the time for draft positioning. However, they have played decent football the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, this team hasn't been that bad. Like, the defense is played pretty well. I mean, obviously the competition, but like they competed in that Saints game for a little bit too. In the Chiefs game, Aiden O'Connell's made some nice throws. Amir Abdullah's been a guy the last few weeks. Like, they've put some things together here. And they got the best rookie in football in Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Do you give Antonio Pierce another year with this? I mean, I think Antonio Pierce's biggest issue has been A, he has had a lot of talent, and B, he's had a couple issues. I mean, he hasn't been great with game management, and I also don't think he's been great with coordinator hires. But so I mean, that's a lot of head coaching. But he's done a great job with, again, the motivational side of things. It's like a Dan Campbell who hasn't found his Ben Johnson. Do you consider this?
I think he is going to come back for another season. Yeah,
if the Raiders could justify not having to pay another head coach, they probably will.
Yeah, I think he's liked. I mean, that's fine. That's half the battle. It feels like for modern coaches, he is liked. So I think that matters. But yeah, I mean, like you said, they have to hire the right staff and they have to figure out the quarterback situation. And I said this on Sunday, so I don't want to go too far into it. But every AFC team that doesn't have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, because the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL are in the AFC. Any team that isn't in the AFC without one of those 5 guys has to evaluate quarterback every year. And if that means drafting every year until you have that guy, then you have to keep drafting. So that is the one thing that's tough about this Raiders situation is now they got to find a way to move up. I've seen some like fake trade proposals. If the Raiders want to send us Colton Miller for the number 1 pick and some other stuff, I'll be okay with that. Just give me a call. I'll call it in.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I think that they need to evaluate quarterback and they need to make the right hires, like you said.
Or just draft the best rookie again at pick 13.
Yeah, I mean they could. Yeah, eventually it doesn't matter who's quarterback if you keep drafting the best player in the draft at 13.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on from this game. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, let's go Panthers at Falcons.
Okay. I mean, a bit early, but I kind of get it. I'm also assuming I know what your lock is, but yeah, I mean, so the Panthers looked horrible last week, which is a bummer because they have looked better as of late. I also think the Falcons look much better with Michael Penix out there. So I am going to pick Atlanta, and I am going to double it up. Another one where it's like you do wonder if they lose this game. Like, I think Raheem Morris is fine. He had a first year. The Falcons did better. They nearly made the playoffs. They'll have a winning season if they beat the Panthers. If you lose this, though, then maybe it's a hot seat situation. The Panthers, they're just so injured defensively. Their defense is already poor, and now it's as injured as it is. This shouldn't be an issue for Atlanta.
No, it shouldn't. And honestly, it's it's one of those things where I do think that they should probably make some changes if it doesn't work out. I mean, they spent so much money this offseason to win this year. And if they don't make the playoffs because they lose this game, I mean, granted, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but if they lose this game, I think that you have to ask some real questions. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, overall, they have to win this game and they have to do it convincingly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess the one thing you look at is this Falcons defense still hasn't played great. Bryce Young, I thought was a bit inconsistent against Tampa Bay last week, but has had some really good moments. Like, if you get another miscommunication interception or two from Michael Penix, and then Bryce Young can have a good day. Like, I don't think it's impossible. And we always talk about how divisional matchups can get weird. Obviously, every game is a divisional matchup, but I don't think it's out of the question Carolina can pull out this upset, even if I'm doubting it.
Yeah, no, it's not out of the question. And obviously, like we said last week, even though I think he had some good moments, the risk of playing a rookie quarterback so late in the season without any reps is that there is a chance that he struggles. He's still seen a lot of new things, and every week can be a different thing. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a few struggles this game. I'm not, I'm still like the idea of Penix long term and going into next season, but yeah, he could have some mishaps in this game, and that could cost them.
Yeah. Of course, Atlanta, what they need to make the playoffs is a win and a Buccaneers loss. So not impossible. You only need 2 things to happen. but we'll get to the Buccaneers. Saints not exactly playing at the height of their powers right now, so we'll see how that goes. Any more thoughts on this one, or ready to move on?
No, we can move on.
Okay, so we have 5 games left that we will pick. We then have a handful that we will talk about after this. So next game, well, I'm gonna assume this is your lock, but I'll give it to you anyway. Let's talk some balls. Balls going to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Kyle, who you got?
Yeah, this is the balls. This is a super lock. I mean, this team, like they still very much have stakes in winning because they want to hold off the Packers for the 6th seed. And the Cowboys like sting. Like they had put up a good fight the second half of the season. I thought they had some really good performances late, but at the same time, at this point, with CeeDee Lamb on the sideline, this offense looked helpless last week. And this is another team that I think they did enough to show like I actually think McCarthy may end up keeping his job after all this. I mean, it's a possibility, I think, but I think enough of the other guys have kind of like showed enough to like stick around that it's probably looking towards next season now.
Yeah, I think so as well, because the Cowboys, they had been playing so much better as of late, which is why I think this line is just 4.5, and the Cowboys beat the Commanders just a handful of weeks ago. But at the same time, like, I agree, it's like look at what both of these two teams did the past week. The Commanders, what they need to, the reason why this game matters for them is they're currently in the 6th seed. The Packers are in the 7th seed. If the Commanders lose and the Packers win, the Packers get the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed. And if you're wondering, well, who cares that much? You should care a lot, because the winner, the 7th seed, will have to go on the road to play the Eagles. The 6th seed will have to either play the Rams or the Buccaneers. Feels like a pretty big jump between those teams. So yeah, I think a big game for Washington.
Yeah, everybody they should definitely want this game. They want that matchup, and this is a big game for the balls. So yeah, let's just go get it done. No fuss about it. I know this is a divisional matchup. The Cowboys gave you some trouble the last time, but they're looking forward to their own vacation for sure.
Yeah. Also, you can't get swept by Cooper Rush and the Cowboys if you're the Commanders. If you're another team, okay, but like this is a historic rivalry. You can't get swept to the backup quarterback on your great year.
Yeah, no kidding. Come on, man. Let's lock in. Let's get this done. Cover the 4.5. If I lose this game off of a bunch of dumb field goals like that Seahawks Bears game, I'm just gonna lose my mind.
In fairness, you got a little lucky with the how the balls won last week. They won in overtimes to cover the spread.
Hey man, whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but interesting stuff between those two teams. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, next on my list is Bears at Packers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep with it then. The because obviously Packers are the other side of the coin with the balls, where they're going to play their starters as well, which I kind of think they just kind of need the reps right after last week, where things just look they can look so good in stretches, but they're just inconsistent. Getting another 60 minutes together might just help with that. Jair Alexander has been announced; he will miss the rest of the season, so that sucks. But I mean, yeah, this is. Quite frankly, there's still a couple of like what would have been lock candidates for me here, Kyle. Even with the big spreads, Packers are favored by 9. I am going to double up, which again, double up doesn't mean they have to cover. Just that it's essentially like going, making it twice as big of a bet on the team. I think the Packers should be able to win this one handedly.
Yeah. No, this is the right play. It is funny because the Bears, the first 3 divisional games, lost by 1 point to the Packers, 3 points to the Vikings, and 3 points to the Lions. And then, I mean, honestly, could have won all 3 of those games. And then the last 2 games against the Vikings and Lions, they lost by 18 and 17. So I expect this to be a 16-point Packers win. So yeah, I just think it's they competed the first games. This offense has not looked good the last few weeks, and this team is limping into the offseason since they fired their coach.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Matt Eberflus was what was keeping this team together. I mean, like, ever since he goes, they're falling apart.
Maybe they should hire him back. You think he'll come back for next season?
That would be good. That would be an all-timer, I think.
Yeah, that would be quite. That and Sam Darnold going back for the Jets. That would be the. Those would be the 2 amazing scenarios. Best case scenarios for me.
Yeah, Jets
and Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. Don't forget it.
Right. Yes. And then TJ Watt and Myles Garrett traded 1-for-1.
I think the Steelers got to add like a first round pick for that.
Yeah, at least a couple first round picks, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird. The final week of the season, we're like, we don't have that much to play for. It's like, yeah, we know what the Bears are. We know what the Packers are. The game was close the last time. We should say that the Bears should have won that game. But I just think these two teams have gone in such different directions. I mean, the Packers haven't gone in much of a different direction, but the Bears have.
Yeah, the Bears have looked hopeless the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I think it feels like a foregone conclusion that the Packers are going to win this game and put the pressure on the Commanders to get their job done.
If you're a Bears fan, are you kind of hoping Lions win the Super Bowl? Like, get Ben Johnson out of there? Ben Johnson would leave if they win the Super Bowl, right?
You would assume so.
Yeah. Then he takes care of business. Hey, we did it. We accomplished everything. Now I can go get generational wealth in Chicago.
I mean, you've lost 10 games in a row. I don't know if you're really hoping for much of anything at this point.
Maybe not. Maybe you're, I don't know. Is there, what are the other sports? Nothing. They're horrible across the board.
Yeah, Bulls are interesting. Bulls are weird. The Cubs have put together a decent offseason. Maybe that's interesting.
Okay.
The White Sox, that's horrifying.
Yeah. If you're on the south side of Chicago, you're having a tough time.
Yeah. I mean, there is the funny thing is they're going to win 4 games this season, and the reward for it is the 9th pick in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insulting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess, you got Connor Bedard.
Yeah. The team, didn't they just fire their coach?
It's not great.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You don't even have like DePaul basketball. That's never been good. Northwestern football stinks.
No.
I mean, everyone around you is good. Imagine being in Chicago as a sports fan of like everything and just seeing like, the Big Ten football schools all around you dominate. You're seeing the NFL teams around you dominate. This is the best division in football by a mile.
Right.
That's got to be miserable. You're a fan of the White Sox. Like that is horrible.
Yeah. That would be
tough.
tough.
For all the Chicago sports fans here.
Yes. Thank you. Shout out to everyone who is in Chicago listening to this podcast. Kyle, let's move on. Time for me to give you a game. Three bangers left, I would say. I guess I'll give you Saints Bucks here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the right play. Yeah, double up the Saints. Or no, oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. A real bold call here, Kyle.
Yeah, double up the Bucks.
Okay.
The Bucks are going to double up the score on the Saints. Yeah, the Bucks are going to win this one. This Saints team without all of their guys is terrible. So, yeah,
which in fairness, that's a fair thing to be terrible for if you're missing.
Yeah,
your entire team.
I don't know, literally the entire team. I mean, I can't stress enough. Like we say all these teams, we feel bad for injuries. I actually feel bad for the Saints injuries. Like this is actually insane. They're down their quarterback. Their running back probably isn't going to play. I don't see why they would have their aging running back play in this game. They're down their top 2 receivers. They're down their best offensive lineman and maybe their best offensive player. They've had several. Their center is probably their second best offensive lineman. He's been out. Yeah, I just think like they've had offensive linemen in out of the lineup all year too. Like it's really rough. Like they have been beaten to hell on offense, and like Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been like the bright light of this season.
And he came by like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean,
so.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, there's a lot of teams where it's like, oh, like our injuries, and it's like, no, everyone has some injuries. Like that doesn't. It's not exactly how it works, but like, yeah, no, it's fair to say that like this is a team that has been completely rattled with injuries. Kyle, the reason why I still gave it to you over 2 games left is one, those 2 games are the we'll get into them, but not exactly barn burners. The other thing is just like, I don't know, there's just weird juju here. Saints versus Bucks.
You're scared of this game. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
You are
100%.
absolutely scared. You have had all this history with the Saints giving you trouble all these years. And now you have to beat the Saints to make the playoffs. You are definitely scared of this game. It's okay to say it.
Yes, absolutely. That is 100% the case. I'm not afraid to admit I've been afraid of the Saints my whole life, Kyle.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler's going to have like 338 yards in the third quarter.
He was good last time.
Why is this happening?
He was good last time they played us. They scored like 24 points in 1 quarter.
Yeah, but he's not going to have half the weapons he had then. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's just there's just a bad juju, and then I'm like, Buccaneers are going to try and force feed Mike Evans the ball. They're not going to be focused. Like it's just there. I don't know. Things go wrong in these moments. These a lot of high stress stuff. Things can go wrong. Even like last year, the Buccaneers were playing the Panthers, who were horrible. They won 9-0, and the Panthers had a goal line fumble in that game. You know, like these things don't always go the way you expect them to go. I think the Bucs will win. I feel okay about the Bucs winning, but there's two other horrible games. I feel a little bit less okay about this because of the bad juju.
Yeah. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling is actually questionable.
Okay, well that's good. I feel better now.
If he doesn't play, do you want to try and name the Saints skill position players that aren't questionable or out right now? Let's start at running back. Could you name the number one running back that's not listed as questionable or out?
No.
It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, really? I did not realize that. Okay, that's fun.
And then could you name could you name any of the top 3 receivers for the Saints that aren't listed as questionable or out?
Any of the top 3? Honestly, no, I don't think I could.
Yeah, we have Kevin Austin Jr., who looks like he's in his rookie season from Notre Dame.
Okay.
You have Cedric Wilson Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been around. And then you have the third one is Dante Pettis.
Okay, how did I not guess those 3? How were they not at the tip of my tongue?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's tough. And then Juwan Johnson's listed as questionable too. So Foster Moreau's your tight end.
So, Kyle, I saw some people on the Atlanta Falcons subreddit. I was interested in seeing. Of course, I'm going to check that out after their debacle last week. I saw a lot of Falcons fans kind of saying the sentiment, I don't care that we need the Buccaneers to lose. I'm still not rooting for the Saints, which I think is fun. They're still like, you know what? I'd rather the Saints lose another game than making the playoffs.
Rivalries run deep in the South, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. Do you think? I mean, obviously, what I want to have happen: 85 Mike Evans yards, 1 Baker touchdown, and then a win, and I'm happy. I don't need anything else. We could win by 1 point. I'm good.
Yeah, I think you'd like to win by a little more than 1 point.
I would like to, but that's all If that happens, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you guys win by like 20, so it's okay.
Okay, well, let's hope so. Here, I don't know. Don't like it.
That's fair. We're gonna move on though to the Chiefs at Broncos.
Okay. Yes. I am the Broncos to win. I am doubling up the Broncos. I think you could argue this one could be picked first, just because, like, obviously, I mean, you can't just because you have your backups in doesn't mean that you're going to play your backups entirely. Like, some starters are still going to have to play. There's only so many roster spots. Carson Wentz, I mean, we've seen him have good games in his career. The Chiefs are still going to have Andy Reid. The Broncos should win this game. I think they do win this game. Like, I don't know. It's going to be tough for the Chiefs playing their backups to be able to win a game against a desperate Broncos team trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah. How funny would it be if Carson Wentz goes off in this game and all the Colts fans just have to watch him go nuts week 18?
That's
like, why can't you do this for us?
That's actually the perfect, because I was thinking, like, how funny would it be that Colts fans have to root for the Carson Wentz, but, like, if the Colts win this week and then see Carson Wentz go off, and then they not only why couldn't you do this for us, but then they would have made the playoffs had they just beaten the Giants. That is the perfect, like, end to the Colts season.
Yeah, that is really funny. Yeah, I think the obviously, like you said, some guys are going to play, but at the same time, I imagine the key guys for Kansas City are going to have limited snap counts. Obviously, Mahomes isn't playing at all. And Broncos have every incentive to go out there and win this game. So I think they're going to do that.
Yeah. As the Steelers fan that you have been antagonizing in the chat says, Chiefs resting for 3.5 weeks will completely ruin them playoff time, but I'm all here for it. I have to be honest, Kyle, I think it's a mistake to be resting the starters for this long. Like, you look at the numbers the numbers. When you rest for multiple weeks, usually you go one and done. Like, usually you don't even get out of the next round. Now there's very small numbers. It's like 5, like I think it's like 6 teams that have done it, but in like the past 12 years. But like I just think it's a mistake. I just think that they should play Mahomes for a half. The risk of him getting injured. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. The goal isn't to keep everybody healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. If he didn't have that ankle injury earlier, like a couple weeks ago, he probably plays in this game, right? Like that's probably the risk you're running here, is why they decided to do it. But at the same time, yeah, I think it is risky. It is risky, but at the same time, they also have all these tackle issues, and he's been getting hit a lot this season. So I guess I get it from both sides.
Yeah, it's also a little weird too. Where like the Ravens, who we'll talk about in just a second, like they're playing the Browns, so it's like okay, like the Browns have nothing to play for. Like you can kind of make sure that you avoid the hits. Like the Broncos are going to be playing a physical game too because they have to win.
Yeah, they have to go for it, and that defense is tough. So, yeah,
some would even say they have a defensive player of the year on their team.
Do you want to go there? I mean,
TJ Watt halfway through the season was easily the defensive player of the year. Since then, he's cooled off. Like he's not leading the league in sacks, pressures, or PFF grade or pass rush win rate. Surtain's been easily the best corner in football this year. Yeah, give me Surtain.
Yeah. I'm for it. I'm listening. I hear you.
Also, give me a Trey Hendrickson shout out as well. He's I think he's leading the league, like second in pass rush win rate, leading the league in sacks. Like give him when you consider the defense behind him, like how quickly he has to get to a quarterback to get a pressure. Like he's had a great year.
Yeah, I mean, I do think he's been good, but at the same time, I think it's one of those things where he won't get the credit because the team is so bad around him. You know, like the defense is so bad around him that it's like the defensive numbers are not good enough to like lift him up. So I don't know. That'll be a tough one. I don't know who else I would even put in the conversation, honestly. Will Anderson, maybe?
Probably not.
I feel like he's got to be
I'd have to look into it, but I don't think so.
Is he that far lower? I thought he was really close. Maybe not.
I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I haven't heard the pitch for him yet, but are we saying next week where we'll do our All Pros? Or on Sunday?
Yes, we're gonna do on I think it is Sunday that we do our full awards thing. We do all pros, we do in the major awards.
So we'll do all pros and then you said it. I don't have to repeat you. Kyle,
he's currently fifth, by the way, in Defensive Player of the Year award, behind TJ Watt, Patrick Surtain, Myles Garrett, and Andrew Van Ginkel has higher odds.
Yeah, there's a couple of weird choices on that list.
Yeah. I mean, I like Andrew Van Ginkel as a player, but if you're just looking at sack odds and saying that, then all right.
Yeah, I don't know. Kyle, final game that we will be picking. I'm giving it to you. Browns, Ravens. Who do you got?
Yeah, doubling up the Ravens. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson's the worst quarterback I've seen played at NFL games.
Worse than Nathan Peterman?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I mean, maybe not, but it's close. And the fact that it's close and he's now getting his third start kind of tells me what this Browns team thinks of itself. So yeah,
at least Nathan Peterman got pulled halfway through that game.
Yeah, yeah, he is not ideal. So I think it is I think it's a blowout. I think the Ravens win by a lot. Obviously, they're 17.5. Like I actually considered locking this up for the Ravens.
I did no. This would have been my lock if I had the last pick. I this for my lock. I'm totally with you. The issue is that I didn't know if I actually was convinced I would not, because that's obviously going to be the last game chosen. I mean, I don't know what to do. Why is it? It's annoying because I get why Saturday game, because they wanted to have a game with me here, but like there's certain games you just can't choose because you have to pair them with the other game. But like this sucks, right? This is not going to be a good.
Yeah. I do feel like they could have just done the Chargers game and the Steelers game Saturday. Because those two teams have to match up with each other similarly, and then do the Ravens on Sunday. Like, I feel like that would have made more sense. Like, if you did the Chargers at the 4:00 slate. Because, like, realistically, like, I get technically the Steelers can win the division, but, like, we've watched Dorian Thompson-Robinson and this Browns team in the last few weeks. Like, we get it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like they should have just done that and then given the Ravens the Sunday advantage that the Chargers have. Because I think the Chargers are much more susceptible to actually being beat this week, but they're going to have the advantage of seeing if the Steelers win or lose to decide to play their guys. That should have been the Saturday game to me.
I don't know. And Kyle, here's a thought too I had is like, I think it's a big win for Lamar's MVP case. Because I'm looking at MVP. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen is still the favorite as of right now, but Allen I think they said they're going to have him play a little bit this week, but not play much. And you have Lamar getting an isolated game on, admittedly, Saturday. Saturday games don't do as well as Sunday games do. It's an isolated game, so it's still going to get more attention than like a 1 o'clock Sunday game would. Team that just not playing good football. If Lamar can put up like 4 touchdowns in this one, which is not crazy at all to suggest, then that could tip the scales.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I definitely think it's going to be an interesting case to end the season, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know. It's weird. I think it's weird. Josh Allen is the favorite right now, honestly, and I honestly I think if this MVP is decided because of wins and losses, then I'm pretty disappointed in the MVP structure. Like, we need to tear this whole thing down.
I mean, like, what I mean, that's been the case for forever, though. Like, that keeps being and I think the funny thing is, like, why Josh Allen is the favorite to win MVP this year is pretty similar to why Lamar Jackson won it last year.
It is, but at the same time, like, even if I disagreed with the premise of Josh Allen's turnover numbers being high last year, there was at least an argument.
Yeah, you're right.
Lamar Jackson's counting numbers are still better than Josh Allen's this year.
Right.
Outside of QB sneak touchdowns. Like,
yeah, it's weird how usually it's the box scores. That's what. Not always. I mean, Rodgers won over Brady had better, although Brady had turnovers again. So you're right. Like, it's usually there at least is an argument to being made.
Yeah. Your internet has gone out a little bit here, but I
sorry.
did hear what you said there. Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I just think I'd be pretty disappointed in the results if that happened, because yeah, I don't understand it, because like, even though I disagree, it's still much more atrocious, because I think he had like 10 interceptions that year, despite throwing like 200 more passes, something ridiculous like that. But anyway, it's just I don't get it. So I think it is it's going to be disappointing, because, like, yes, I think Josh Allen should have won next season. You could say that balances out, but that's not how the award should be evaluated. And I think Lamar's just been straight up much better this season.
How do I sound? I see that I don't look crystal clear. Do I sound okay?
You sound okay now. It broke up there a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. And if it's getting tough, let me know. Almost through the show, we can power through. But yeah, ready to move on to the other games?
Yeah, we could touch on these other games.
Okay, so we won't spend forever on these ones, but we'll just kind of do like I said, I don't know, 60 seconds on each. The first one I want to talk about is the Rams. Kyle, I find this interesting. So the Rams, the reason why we're not talking about this game, even though it matters, is the Rams have announced they're not going to play their starters, despite the fact that winning could get them to 3 seed, or would get them to 3 seed. Losing, you assume Tampa Bay wins and drops them down to the 4 seed. That feels like a pretty big mistake, right? I get that they've been banged up, and I get they want the week to rest. And usually I wouldn't I wouldn't care that much. But in a week like this, where it's between either Green Bay or Washington, or playing the loser of Minnesota, Detroit, like I want the 3 seed here.
It feels significant, right? We're going to have a 14 win playoff team in the 5 seed. I wouldn't want to play that team. So it is very interesting to see that play out that way. But I guess, like you said, they're not looking at it as our goal is to win the Super Bowl. They're looking at it as our goal is to get healthy, and maybe it's the right decision. But yeah, I just think it is it's a really interesting decision. I think it's the wrong one too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Jimmy Garoppolo, though, we're gonna see Jimmy Garoppolo. That's fun.
I don't
Patriots
know.
Hero.
Am I supposed to get excited about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he won 2
He did get us a 2nd round pick. I guess that's cool.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, let's move on then. Couple other games too. This game we actually probably spend a minute on. Bills Patriots. The Bills are doing the thing where we've seen them do this before. They're going to have Allen play for a bit, and then they're going to bench him, just kind of getting him some reps, but not, don't want to play him for the whole game and risk injury. Kyle, your New England Patriots currently are in line for the 1st overall pick. How much are you rooting against them in this game?
This is one of the few times where I do want them to lose. We talked about this on Sunday with the number 1 pick now up for grabs. There seems to be a lot of incentive. Unfortunately, I think they're going to win. And that's the unfortunate thing. So Yeah, I think that they have a coach kind of coaching for his job. They want to put together some good performance on tape, and I think they're really going to go for it. And it'll be interesting to see if the Patriots do end up winning this game and losing the number 1 pick off it.
Wasn't it the Texans, Lovie Smith, who they just needed to lose the last game of the season and they would have the first overall pick? They Lovie Smith's Texans win that game and then Lovie Smith gets fired. Granted, they got CJ Stroud, which who knows if that's better or worse now than Bryce Young. But at the time, that was funny. I don't know. I feel like it's tough. Like should they fire Jared Mayo now?
Fire him before the game. That seems a little preemptive, but
or like Saturday to fire him, something like that.
I still think he's actually going to be the coach next year.
You think so? Well, then if you're going to make him the coach next year, then you say like, hey, you're going to be a coach next year. Don't worry about it. We're okay.
I just think, not knowing these people and just speculating, like Robert Kraft would have to admit that he made a mistake with the Mayo thing to fire him, and I think the ego is going to play a part in that. So I think that's probably why he's going to coach next season with new coordinators.
Yeah, maybe. How do you feel about that?
I'm not optimistic about it. I don't think he's an awesome coach. I think he's got a lot to learn. Can he get better? Could it be the similar thing to like an Antonio Pierce, where if he hits on the coordinators, it gets better? Potentially, but you have to hit on the coordinators, so we'll see. But
like Antonio Pierce, like you hear like what Max Crosby I think said he would like demand a trade if Antonio Pierce leaves. Like Jared Mayo, I feel like every quote I hear is him saying like, when I threw this guy under the bus last week, I actually didn't mean to. I apologize. Like that's every quote I hear him saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of like calling players soft and then apologizing for the week later. So, I don't know, man. I would like the opportunity to get Ben Johnson while he's still available.
There's too many good head coaching prospects out there now to settle for a guy who doesn't seem to have it all together right now.
Yeah, I would do that. I would call Texas about Steve Sarkisian. I would make a call about almost every offensive coach.
Yeah, Rex Ryan's available.
No.
Make him just complete the division.
Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm good on that one.
Okay, yeah. He wouldn't join there, right? He would be like, I don't want to be on the Patriots.
I don't think he'd want to coach again.
You think
Get Up seems like an easy job. You get to debate, what is it, Mike Greenberg? Like, I don't think Mike Greenberg knows a lot about football, to be fair.
Yeah, Kyle, I know it's the truth. I essentially have it. So, you don't want to coach. It's not, you don't want it.
Yeah, I think he's got a cushy desk job, and he did his coaching thing. He had some good years, and that's that.
Yeah, no, getting to talk about football and then go home. That's the move. Trust me, but he would want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, I guess.
Okay, a couple more games. 4 games left to power through. Giants Eagles. So the Eagles just announced that they were a little cagey on it, but it seems like they will not be playing their starters. Saquon Barkley will not be getting the record. What are your thoughts on that?
Obviously it's unfortunate because seeing NFL history is fun, but at the same time, I understand it from their perspective. The most important thing is Saquon's ready for the playoffs and to try and win a Super Bowl, not breaking a record. So I get it. Drew Lock's hot, man. You better watch out. He's going to go off.
I don't think so. I think Giants being favored is still a mistake here.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
It'd be funny if they win again and fall further down to the draft order.
It is crazy to think about how they could keep falling.
Yeah. I do have a Giants fan in my life who I was talking about this, and he's so upset. He was like, why couldn't we just scored like 30 and have like a good performance and lose?
Yeah.
Why do we have to score 45?
Jonathan Taylor just didn't drop the hook and ladder. Like they could have happened.
Yeah, the Colts are such a funny franchise.
They are. Another team fighting, the first overall pick stuff is really what's carrying the end of the show, because the Titans have a chance to get the first overall pick as well. They play the Texans, though, who will be resting their starters. Titans are currently second in line to have they're currently picking second. So if the Patriots win and they lose, although if they win this game, they could fall to, what is it? I believe they could fall somewhere around the pick 6-7 range with a win. So they got to make sure they drop this one.
It would be pretty funny if like the Patriots, Titans, and Giants all win, and then
Mm-hmm.
the Browns end up with the number 1 pick, and I'm pretty sure the Patriots would end up with the number 2 pick in that scenario.
I believe. Them and Jacksonville's strength of schedule is similar enough that I think it could flip.
Yeah,
But yeah. You're right. They probably would end up with number 2.
2 or 3, but either way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'd be interesting.
What's your like? Would you be okay with the number 2 overall pick? Like, are you like
Yeah,
out of
because
a
it's
drink? Okay.
yeah, I think it still works because you still have that trade chip because it is a 2 quarterback draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think that is still a trade chip that I'd be okay with, but there a lot needs to happen. Tennessee and the Giants need to win, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. The odds are it's either 1 or a lot worse than that. But Titans. I mean, I will say this too. Like the Titans didn't go into this season tanking. Like they signed players like to make themselves better. Like Will Levis just completely didn't work out. And this is kind of the argument that I always make about like try to take a big swing on a quarterback. It's always worth drafting a quarterback. If you mess it up, it'll be worse, and then you can get another quarterback later, right? Whereas like if you go out and sign these veteran guys, like you're never going to get another chance usually.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to be kind of in that NFL purgatory, which you don't want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to end up back in a position to take another quarterback, and that's where they want to be.
I don't know. I just feel like the Patriots and like I still remember Lovie Smith with the Buccaneers. He's had multiple first overall pick franchises. When he was with the Buccaneers were currently in line to get the number 1 overall pick. They were up against the Saints at the half, and then all of a sudden he decided to bench Mike Evans. Interesting strategic decision there, and the Buccaneers lost and got the first overall pick. I think there's gonna be some of those decisions.
It could happen. I mean, we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I don't know. I'm not optimistic for my team, but I could see the Titans doing that at least. I think their
Yeah.
coach is much safer still.
Yeah, I think that helps. 2 games left. Jaguars Colts again. Colts are funny. Colts are
Who
currently at pick
cares?
12.
Oh my gosh.
Well, again, the Jaguars there is a very outside chance the Jaguars could end up with the number 1 overall pick. If the Giants, Browns, Titans, and Patriots all win, which again, 3 of those 4 are favored, the Browns aren't going to win. But like it's not crazy that Jaguars could be picking top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, but a lot needs to happen still. Do you think Jaguars and Colts fans are going to watch this game?
I wouldn't. I think
Like,
when I've been in this situation a few times where like my team's not fighting for the first overall pick and it's like so bad, and it's like I think in those ones I'm like I still usually keep it on, like check it out, but then I'm watching the rest of the league.
yeah, I feel like if the Colts really wanted to make a statement, like 10 people should show up to this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be good. Should it just
um,
play like Red Zone on the Jumbotron at this game?
yeah, just have literally anything else on. I'm
Yeah.
sure there might be some Premier League soccer still on at that time. You know, you could put anything else on, like put it on The Office reruns or something like that.
Yeah, I remember there was a few years ago someone was giving away free like Rays tickets. And I was at a Rays game. It's like some like with the group. They had Rays tickets they weren't going to go to, but it was during like a Lightning playoff game, so none of us wanted to go. I feel like that's like the vibe that Jaguars Colts feels like.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm actually going to look up while you're do a tangent here, and I'm going to see how much this game costs.
Okay, I feel like this is the game where like grandma who knows you're a Colts fan says like, "Oh, let me get you tickets to a Colts game. Here's Week 18 Jaguars Colts." Like not fully understanding what's going on.
Yeah. So there are tickets currently available for $12. It
Okay,
is not the cheapest game available because you can get into Texans and Titans for $5.
okay, 5 is that? But is there a service fee?
Yeah, there are fees attached to it still that haven't been applied.
Okay,
Let's
so
see
it might be close to like 10.
let's look at this one. What's this? $15 for some Balls Cowboys action. Having been to the Cowboys Stadium several times, if you're in the back, you're just watching the game on TV. Like, there's really no point in going to the game if you're sitting in the back row,
Is
unless
it
you
because
really just love the environment.
what is it just like it's too far away?
Yeah, it's a huge, huge stadium. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it's just so high and so far. Yeah, I watched. I went to a college bowl game, like a BCS bowl game, and I was just watching the game on TV.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, one game left. Niners Cardinals. This is I think the game of the week of like I don't care.
Yeah, that was my last game, but this is similar too. Like, these teams had some interesting storylines this season, but it's all kind of like, all right, we're good now. So
Yeah.
we should just do the podcast from one of these games.
Yeah, sure. It'd be nice and quiet.
Yeah, just do it live from the live from the Cardinals 49ers game.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
$30 to go to that game. Arizona's still rowdy.
Wow. Yeah. What way to go, Arizona?
Yeah. What about him to the Steelers, Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I mean, that would be good. That's fun. I don't know why the Cardinals would do that, but I think the Cardinals are sticking with. This is not the year. I'm a big believer in move off the quarterback. I don't know if this is the year to do that.
As opposed to what?
I don't know. I just feel like, well, maybe it is. I just feel like there's not a lot of great veterans out there that you could get on cheap deals, and I feel like there's not a ton of quarterbacks in the draft, and the ones that are there are going quickly, right?
Well, what if they trade their first round pick, similar to the Jets thing? What if they trade their first round pick for JJ McCarthy, and then trade Kyler Murray for assets to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, that's our crazy trade tree that Kyle. We're gonna have a lot more of that stuff come off season time.
Oh, I'm gonna have so many fake trades lined up for the offseason. Let's do it.
You could just do an episode on that. On your fake trades. Did you specifically you?
Yeah, I'll just come up with the most ridiculous ones, or some like semi-realistic ones, so the most ridiculous, and just see how mad people get.
Yeah. So again, are you getting a first round pick for Kyler? Is it like, are you just?
No, it wouldn't be a first round pick. You would just be getting additional assets for Kyler, whatever you can, like a third or fourth round pick.
Okay, you don't think you would get a first
for Kyler? No way.
The Jets would give you a first.
No way. He's not a first round pick quarterback.
I think that you're lower on Kyler than most people are.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think he is. I don't think he's getting a first 2-round pick.
I don't know. I mean, it's weird because, like, obviously the contract is what factors in. Like, yeah. I think that someone would at least give you a second-round pick for. You think Carson Wentz got a first-round pick?
Yeah, but people still thought Carson Wentz might be good.
Less than the people think that Kyler Murray is good now. You're telling me the Colts wouldn't give up at least a second-round pick for Kyler Murray?
No, I don't think they would. That contract is huge.
I don't know. It's a big contract, but it's also first up. Well, how much are you taking on the contract?
Yeah, I mean that is the factor. If they eat a lot of the money, then maybe he goes for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think there's too many bad like you're really telling me the owner of the Jets, or like Jets is a bad example. Like the Jets just took on Aaron Rodgers, right? You're really telling me the owner of one of these bad teams isn't going to take on a guy who's going to like guarantee you to be competitive in the final month of the season.
What's Kyler Murray's Madden rating? That'll play a factor for the Jets.
You're right. Yeah, it's probably good. He's actually probably great as a Madden player because he can move, and those quarterbacks are what you want. So yeah, Jets are definitely on board.
Woody Johnson's grandkid or something just kills with him in Madden because of his running ability. He's like, we're trading the house for this guy now. They
might be like Xbox friends, or I don't have an Xbox, but whatever, like the connection that they might play together.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that he's such a Jets quarterback or Colts.
Yeah, Derek Carr has Colt written all over him. That's still my prediction.
Yeah,
like that's
on the money.
Like I could see him in the jersey.
Oh, here's what it is: Carr to the Colts, and then Kyler to the Saints. They mortgage the future once again to get Kyler. That's what it is. Yeah, we nailed it.
They just there's no way they could trade Derek Carr and still have the cap space to take on Kyler Murray's contract. How much? I don't know.
They could do it. They'd find a way.
Oh my gosh. They would just abolish the salary cap at that point.
They kind of have. Kyle, that is our show. Let them know where they can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow him on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin. And make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Of course, if you like audio-only podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, search On the Sideline Podcast. Should be available there. I will mention on Sunday, our show will be same as usual. We will recap the games. We're probably going to do it similar to this week, where we kind of power through some of the games that didn't have consequences at the end of the show. And then we will give our awards. We're going to give all pros along with MVP, defensive and offensive player of the year, defensive and offensive rookie of the year, and coach of the year. Kyle, is that good? Did I miss anything?
No, we're good there. We're recapping all the games on Sunday. So I have to like read something on the Jaguars game.
Not really. You can say I didn't. There's a couple games we could just be like, yeah, looks like the stats on this wasn't like Mac Jones. Wow, 6 touchdowns. Who would have thought?
Okay. Do I have to watch the Cardinals 49ers?
No, you don't have to, Kyle. You don't have to do any of this. This is all like I'm not making you do any of it. This is all voluntary.
Okay. Yeah, I won't watch any games then on Sunday.
Okay, all right. Go. Yeah, go hang out with your dog.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go.
I got it covered. It's good.
All right. You bring all the knowledge, and I'll just bring the vibes and fake trades.
Yes. Yeah. I think you already bring the vibes, Kyle. It's questionable if I bring the knowledge, but we're doing our best.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
Yes, fun show. Hashtag fun show indeed. Again, thanks to everybody for watching this. We will be back on Sunday. Let Kyle finish his chats and then before I head out. So just stall for time here. Okay. Yes. Thank you to everybody again. We do appreciate it. Until next time, have a good one.
Peace.